Everybody. Today, I'd like to talk about the very important theological topic of being more green. And to get there, I'd first like to talk a bit about the Gospel of Mark. And you think, hey, great, we're in year B of the lectionary, and we're hearing from the Gospel of Mark just about every Sunday, which is a good and beautiful thing. But today's Gospel of Mark actually comes from a Lyft driver, a rideshare driver that I got a few weeks ago, whose name was Mark. Now, I knew Mark was special before I even met him, and here's why. When I was looking at my phone, and I, had ordered the car through the Lyft app, it pops right up and says, Mark will be there in 8 minutes. Look for a Tesla. I'm like, what? Because as rideshare people know, when you order a car, you usually, Priuses are real common because they use the least gas and you get a low per mile cost, and they're all four doors. They have to be a four door to be a Lyft or Uber. And you see a lot of Hyundai Sonatas and cars like that. Little four-cylinder cars that get good mileage and have a low cost per mile. What you never, ever, ever see is a guy driving a Tesla that cost $80,000 picking you up to drive you to the airport for $8. So I knew I had a special human being. And the second I got in the car, I said, Mark, let me tell you, I know a bit about cars. I like cars. I'm going to thank you right now for using your time and your Tesla to drive me around in this very green fashion, not polluting the air or using the least amount of fuel to get me there. I already know that's a ministry because you're not making much money doing this. And he said, well, thank you. Thanks for noticing. So it was like a little thank you battle. I was thanking him, he's thanking me. And he said, you're right, I'm not going to get rich driving Lyft. He said, but I don't need to. I'm a retired air traffic controller at McCarran, the airport here in Las Vegas. And I live alone, and this gets me out of the house. I meet people, I have fun. He said, and truthfully, it's an environmental thing. I know that for every mile I drive somebody around in this car, the air is cleaner because it's using even less gas than a Toyota Prius C. And so it's a win-win. And the few dollars I get, I give to my grandkids. I thought, this is a very, very special soul. But we can, all of us, even if we don't have this spirit of generosity and that we're here just to serve neighbor and environment and the world, and we're as deeply rooted in gratitude as Mark, the Lyft driver, we can, all of us, be a little bit more green. And I actually have some specific suggestions. And one is related to cars. Everybody I know in Las Vegas, no exceptions, everybody over the age of 16 has a car or access to one and drives them with some regularity. And that's true of me. I own 2 cars, a car and a van. Here's my first suggestion. The first, most obvious, of course, is every trip as efficient and necessary as possible. Would you actually, if you go for a drive to relax, would actually your body, mind, and soul be better served if you went for a walk to relax, or a bike ride or something like that? But apart from that, we're all going to use our cars, let's be honest, or our ride shares. And when we order them, we're not always going to get a Tesla. But the next time you replace a car, could you do with 2 cylinders less? Given the technology, there's a lot of 2-liter 4-cylinder cars now that have the torque and the oomph and the muscle of what 6 and even some 8-cylinder cars had when I was little. And so you can have less engine and still have the speed and match speeds on on-ramps with a couple less cylinders. Or instead of counting cylinders, if you don't even know about gas engines, just state as a goal, when I turn over my next car, when the lease comes due, I'm going to improve my MPG, my mile per gallon rating, by 15 or 20% when I roll over my next car. I'm going to set that as a stated goal for my own lungs, for my children, my grandchildren, for everybody. We can transition slowly here. We don't have to worry about, oh no, if we don't have fossil fuels, the world will come to an end. People that used to make horse-drawn wagons used to think that too. Oh no, for 4 generations we've made Wooden wheels for wagons, that can never change. Yes, it can. Relax. Get over the fact that the world can't change. The world can change, and often for the better, if we state that. We can have retired angels driving around in Teslas in Lyft. And Teslas and Lyft didn't even exist 12 years ago. So think of that. Change can be a really good thing. So you're going to get a car that gets better mileage and pollutes the air less and makes your lungs and the whole world a happier place. Here's another thing. I go to Sam's Club. You won't be surprised. I don't do anything there except buy gas. Every now and then I'll walk in and get the ice cream at the restaurant. But when I'm on the Sam's Club parking lot, people have these grocery carts, but they're not grocery carts. They're more like the size of pickup trucks. And they're filled with drinks, but most of it's water. Now, in a place like Las Vegas, and probably the town you live in too, you can go to these little water machines and reuse your container, and you put in 25 or 30 or 35 cents, and it fills up your gallon of water with the water that was just as good as the water that was in there in the first place. In other words, the filters that filter that water are the exact same thing as if you buy drinking water at Costco or Sam's Club or Ralph's or Kroger's or Smith's, wherever you shop. It's just so simple. There's a gallon of water here at the Epiphany Episcopal Church, seen behind me. And while I'm filling my own gallons from I always refill this gallons for the coffee machine. We never ever use, and on the little gallon it says that water expired on October 19th, but I've refilled it probably about 200 times and not used any plastic in that replenishing of 200 gallons of coffee drinking that we've done here at the church. It's just so completely obvious. Now, there's also, often people have this idea that to do the right thing comes at some personal cost. The contrary is true. Let me make it very clear. Mark, the Tesla driving Lyft driver, was a very happy, calm, peaceful, contented, satisfied man. He really knew peace, love, and joy on a deep level. Also, there's this myth out there that to be green somehow costs more. Actually, it can cost less. Take, for instance, the gallon of water I just mentioned. That gallon of water costs 35 cents at the water well over there at the Boulevard and Silverado Ranch. To buy that gallon refilled at Smith's would be $1. No brainer. Use less plastic, save money, the coffee tastes just as delicious. So, I have one more thing. Sorry, we're going long today. Ask yourself, can you heat 1 degree less in the winter and air condition 1 degree less in the summer? It's a good thing for the world, and it's probably, again, a win-win for you, because God created our bodies to have heaters and air conditioners in there. I'm not talking about being drenched with sweat in your home. I'm just saying using your heart and lungs to maybe fill a 1 or 2 degree gap toward green is something you could do, and it'd be a win, body, mind, spirit, and reduction of fossil fuels. You see, that when it's God's will, it's always a win, 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 win. And let me be totally, absolutely clear. Even if I and most of the people I know aren't the angels that Mark the Lyft driver is, everybody I know can be more green and actually be joyful and happy about it. So may God bless you in that endeavor, and may we have a greener and better world. All right, that's what I got today. I love you. Bye-bye.